G'day guys, how you going? It's Decider, and today we're going to be looking at how to set your settings for Last Man Standing. There is a high importance for getting your settings right in Last Man Standing, and this is because you can have more economic movements when you play. For example, why should I have to move my hands further away to get from A to B when you could have set your inventory, you could have set your F keys in a way that was more comfortable. So pretty much this video is going to be starting from the ground up at LMS. The first thing you need to do is get your settings right, so let's just jump right in. Here we are in the control settings. Alright, let's have a look here. First tab, left click where available for player attack options. That's a must. This thing doesn't matter, that just zooms you in and out. You can also work that with your middle mouse button if it goes side to side, or you can just scroll with your middle mouse button as well if you want to zoom in and out like that. Now let's go to audio. You want your sound effects on and your other sound effects on, both these things, and music is optional. Display settings, brightness is good, just helps you see a little bit more in the dark. And then you got your game layout client. Okay, game client layout. You want that on fixed. If you play resizable in LMS, the thing is you're going to be very far away from when you want to click your opponent and when you want to do stuff in your inventory or your special, anything around here, your prayer tab, your magic tab, all this stuff is really important that you're on a fixed layout when you're learning this, and it'll just get easier over time. I know resizable people don't like to hear it, but it's just true. Now there's a few more settings in all settings. We got display, yep, audio, yep, chat, doesn't matter, controls. Shift drop is good, yeah, definitely keep shift drop on. That's in controls. Middle mouse button controls the camera. Okay, this is a really important one, keybinds. So we got F1 as the inventory, F2 as special attack, F4 as prayers, and F3 as magic. You could also set this to like F5 or something if you ever like doing helmet takeoffs, but that's very advanced, and I just like to press my worn inventory and then click the helmet afterwards. But that's entirely up to you. Make sure that you also have escape to leave interfaces on. That's just a nice little thing. I don't think it matters in LMS, but it's just a nice setting. Just another note on the F keys, it doesn't really matter where you put your F keys as long as they're all close together. You could have escape as your inventory instead of F1. I'm used to what I've done, how they're all next to each other, F1, F2, F3, and F4. Just mix it up a little bit and see what works for you. Alright, now we're gonna go make sure that our XP drops are turned on. At the moment I hide them and I'll show them again. It's just an X where my cursor is, top right of the screen, next to the minimap. XP, click it, and then right click it, and then set up. And this is how I got it positioned right, so it shows up on the right of my screen. The size the largest, I do recommend that, it does look nice. The speed is default, you can change it, just edit these as long as how you like. I got as long as it's on, that's the main thing. I got the color as cyan because it doesn't really clash with any other colors in Last Man Standing or PKing in general. Like, I mean, a lot of them wouldn't really, yeah. You should be fine. Just pick a color that you like. Here we are in the inventory layout. Anyways, I start with my mage gear on because catching the freeze is very important, so why not start with it on. Next, I have all my food is laid out in a way that is convenient to shark, brew, karambon. Doesn't really matter where your sharks are. It's more about where your gear is. And we'll get to that, but if you have your food in a way that makes it easier to eat a shark, a brood, then a karambon, that's good, because that's called a triple eat. You can't triple eat any other way, it has to go shark, brood, karambon. So have it easy to do that. My resource at the top of my inventory. It's just nice when you want to click pick potions to get your, what's it called, your stats back after a brew. Just sip a restore and you're good, always going to be at the top. Now I have my range pot and my super combat sitting close to my my gear, my range gear and my ranging potion are basically in the same formation, and so is my Dragon Dagger, Super Combat, and Defender. It's kind of like when I go for my spec, I'm also clicking the potion, so it's like a 1, 2, 3 kind of motion instead of potting up beforehand, then clicking it. It's a slightly different quality, and I find it a lot easier to manage just having it there. And now let's talk about where my gear is placed. You'll notice it's not at the top of the inventory like a lot of people would do, and that's because most of the things that you're going to be clicking in your interface, the part on the right, you know, your inventory, your prayer book, your magic book, your spec, it's all kind of low down. If you can see the spec bar, it's all the way down there. You see the augury, rigor, piety, it's all just down there. And barrage is over here, but you can't see because I'm on the wrong spell book. So if you have your gear sitting lower in your inventory, that's good. You can copy me or even go low if you want. But yeah, once again, mix it up, see what works for you. Alright, I'm just going to talk a little bit about RuneLite settings. If you're on the normal RuneScape client, this doesn't really apply to you, but for people who use RuneLite, there's some settings that you can use, or well, some plugins, or whatever you want to call them. Some extensions that are really good for last man standing. Okay, so the RuneLite settings that I found that you should definitely have on is timers. That will give you a freeze timer, potion timers, all that stuff. It's really nice to know, especially the freeze timer. It doesn't tell you when they're going to be frozen. I'm pretty sure that's an unallowed. I'm not going to talk about OpenRS because I'm a RuneLite person, but OpenRS does have some dodgy things in it, so I've heard. So I'd avoid that. So timers is definitely a RuneLite thing that you want. PvP performance tracker is definitely something you want because it does give you some useful information about how the fight went. That's a plugin, so you have to install it later. So you install RuneLite and then you install PvP performance tracker as an add-on. Ammo is a another like thing that you can add on to RuneLite. That's really nice. Just tick it on. It shows how many arrows you got, or what arrows you got on, or what ammo. And then boost information is one that you definitely need on, because that will show you when you're brewed down. That will show you when you're 117 strength instead of maxed at 118 when you're potioned up. So definitely have your boost information on. And I think that's all it for RuneLite. One last setting is actually a command that you can run, so it's not really a setting, but it's a command. The command is called, and you'll see what happens if you're looking at the screen, render self, all one word, and once I press enter, I go invisible. And you're probably thinking, why the fuck would I want to be invisible? Well, you want to be invisible. You know why? Because then if you step under someone, or someone steps under you, you can see what they're doing, and you should be able to know what you're doing, because you can see your inventory and you can see what you are wearing in this tab. But it's mainly what you see in your inventory. Like obviously, if your robes in your inventory, your range gear is on, or your tank is on, your melee is on. So if you just look at your inventory, you can see what you have on, and then you can hit the person who's under you, knowing what they're about to hit you with, unless they do a 0 tick. But you know, that's just getting into specifics. And also, I don't recommend render self for beginners, because you need to see what your character looks like at the beginning, because that's a very crucial part about getting good at this game. You know, render self is only something that I employed maybe like, I don't know, like 2 months ago. And it is a bit of a learning process, even for someone who's been PKing actively since 2015, but yeah, it should be good for you advanced players. Okay, there's actually one more setting that I need to show you, and that's mouse properties. So if you go to your mouse settings and then you click additional mouse options on Windows, you can set your speed of your mouse. And mine could be slower, but I do recommend slowing down your mouse speed over time, because then you get a little bit more control, because everything's really close together in this game. So having a slow mouse speed will get you doing bigger movements, and it just feels nicer, I reckon. Like I used to have even faster mouse, so how I have it right now is quite nice for me. So maybe I'll start slowing it down even more though in the future myself. But yeah, if your mouse is too fast, definitely turn down the settings, and that's the last setting for today. So let me close that and just say cheers guys. Please like the video, subscribe for more guides like this. It's going to be building you up from the ground if you're a complete beginner, and there will be some advanced techniques thrown in there more towards the end of the series, the LMS series, the guide. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. Take care and play LMS.